Welcome. This is lesson 2 of how to use the nuclear war simulator. In lesson 1, we covered basic navigation and how to do single detonations and how to place people and test the effects of a bomb and whether or not you'd survive depending on where you were at and where you live. This time we're going to cover unit placement. So single detonation is one of the easiest things to do. We get a little more advanced, but this is only slightly. How do you place units? There's a few different ways. If I click unit placement, let me drop down here United States. Let me click unit placement, and this is going to be core. So first thing I can click is all military bases and load. Now, all U.S. military bases have been loaded into the sim. You see, capturing around the world with some level of misses. There's an air base there off of, I'm sorry, it's right around here somewhere. Or here. Diego. But it's there. So there's some misses. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. So that's a baseline. Okay, so what do you do with those? Well, you can test out targeting. So what if Russia targeted certain U.S. bases? There would be some ones that would be like a primary targeting. You'd have Cheyenne Mountain Complex there south of Colorado Springs. You'd have Omaha, which I always take forever to find. This is the fastest I've ever found Omaha. But you have Omaha, you have Strategic Air Base, you have Washington, D.C., you have Virginia Beach. There's several key locations, so you could test out single detonations. What other units can you add? So let's come here from the core thing. So let's add all nuclear weapons. So I'm going to load those. And it takes a second. But now we have all U.S. nuclear weapons. So this opens up numerous opportunities. So what if you want to test? What would happen if the United States nuked Russia? You can do a very simple one by clicking on target country. This can pick percentage of force. So let's say we want to use 60% of our force and retain 40% of our nuclear force. Now, this has a distinction between military targets and civilian targets. We haven't placed any Russian military targets, so let's just go ahead and cycle this to 100%. Now, with this up, all you do is move your cursor to the country you want to target and left click. Now, here's important. If you don't want to target Russia, say you want to target China, to scroll, you got to left click and hold it. And then you move, and then you could choose them. Just make sure you don't, click and unclick and then go back. You got to be specific that once you left click within the boundaries of the country, it'll target that country. So let's go back to Russia, and I'm going to left click. So what happens next? For these to take off, you have to start to move time forward. So you have options here. Real time. Now, if you click real time, the simulation is going to take an awful long time. Remember, it takes about 30 minutes just for an ICBM to launch from the United States and strike Russia or vice versa. So you're going to be sitting there for quite a bit. You can speed it up to 10 times, and then you'll start to see some stuff lighting up. These are subs right here. You'll start to see some ICBMs as well. Or you can click 100 times, and now things are really starting to light up. You can adjust this slider to whatever you want, but let's just keep it here and take a look at it. Now this is using the system's built-in AI to do this targeting. What you're going to also see is we have strategic bombers and stuff. They take a lot of time. So you can optionally move this forward And now they're going very fast. This is like 7,000 speed. but now they've hit their targets. Has the U.S. utilized everything? No. There's B-2 stealth bombers that don't show they have the range to strike. They would need to be forward deployed, but we'll get into that in an advanced video. So at this point, you click on the calculator. It'll calculate casualties. And it takes longer the more detonations that happen, naturally, because this has to run through a lot of computations. So you see here, 37 million Russian casualties, 7,500 Ukrainian, 2,866 Georgian, Kazakhstan. You can click on this and expand, and you can see that overall, 37,100,760 casualties. This initial screen, when you pull it up, will show you those with up to 4 countries with the most casualties. It'll also show you the global cooling effect and the amount of soot. Click on this, it'll show you a country breakdown, their population, their fatalities, whether they had any or not. For instance, China had 236 casualties. China wasn't directly targeted, but you see right here, there's a part of Russia strikes that fall out, crossed into the Chinese border there. And I think that's about it. So that accounted for what they estimated, about 230 casualties. So, okay. So let's go back to new. So what happens if you want to only place a single unit? And let's go to Russia this time. So if we go to unit placement again, well, first let me choose Russia from the drop-down. We'll go to unit placement, left click, and then what you want to do is left click on surface. So you can't just place an ICBM or a mobile ICBM launcher. You have to put down the primary unit type first. So say, in this case, I want to put down a Russian ballistic sub. You need to left click silo control centers. Submarine bases. And then you want to pick one of their ballistic missile subs, not one of their cruise missile subs. Let's go with the Delta. So what this will do is, you'll come down here, number of units. It'll be 1 unit, 1 base, and 5 subs. And you can adjust this. This has a dispersion radius. This is more relevant when it comes to the ICBMs and other stuff, so we'll kind of ignore that for now. So let's say we only want to place 2 subs. So we'll do those 2 subs, and then let's just left click here. So now we have a submarine base and 2 subs. Well, say you don't want those subs there. Say you want them forward deployed. Right click, hold and drag. It'll highlight over, and now you have the 3 options. Delta, 2 subs, and a submarine base. So scroll over to where you want them. In this case, I want to forward deploy them across outside the borders of the United States. So with one of them highlighted, left click set location, left click the other one, left click, exit, and now we have these forward deployed. So what can you do with these? Well, you can do a target country. And again, we'll say 100% of our force, 100% civilian, and we're going to target the United States. Left click, 100 times speed. And we have 2 Russian ballistic missile subs firing against civilian populations across the United States, including Seattle. Pause. Calculate. $8,790,173 U.S. losses, over 15,000, almost 16,000 Canadian losses. So we're going to call in to lesson 2. So that's very basic. We're going to get into how to do some basic attack plans next video. Thank you.